Part 50. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 503. After being in seclusion for 20 days, Gray and Zhao finally heard Yejing's voice from the horizontal bar. Why do I feel like I forgot something? Forgot something? Xiao Mei's phone number. No, I feel like something is missing from me. It just so happens that I am too. I always feel like I am missing someone. I feel like we are the three lowly guests in the demon city, right? But why are there only two of us? Gray and Zhao were holding each other's arms, chatting and laughing, and suddenly their expressions froze and they looked at each other, as if they had remembered something. I remembered it. Damn it. I remembered it too. Yejing. Yejing. The two said in unison. After 20 days, I finally thought of Yejing. The two people showed nervousness on their faces and hurriedly ran to Yejing's retreat point. Oh my god. No movement for 20 days. Could this be death? The two hurriedly opened the door, and at first sight they saw Yejing sitting cross-legged on the floor of the living room, breathing smoothly and calmly, as if nothing was wrong. Feeling alive, the two of them breathed a sigh of relief, then became confused. What is he doing? Isn't it because he has passed away? Gray and Zhao came to Yejing's side with worried expressions on their faces. At this time, true brotherhood is reflected. For example, Xiao Qinglian didn't come once in 20 days. It was as if she had forgotten Yejing and spent every day hanging out in the demon city with her little sister Ji Qinjian. Do you want to search his pockets? No one will inherit the inheritance if he dies. There should be no suicide note, or we should break up. That makes sense. Yejing naturally didn't know that Gray and Zhao Xiangbang were already guarding him, and he didn't know that 20 days had passed outside. Now, the proportion of abyss energy in the body has reached 99%. He was just 1% away from completing the real conversion. And this 1% is the most important step. If all the conversion is not completed, the spiritual energy will continue to enter his body and occupy the 1% share. Damn. Why are you so stubborn? Yejing cursed in his heart. This was like conquering a city, but now he was just missing the last piece, and he just couldn't get it off. Wisp after ray of abyss energy was introduced into his body, impacting the last piece of the puzzle, Tianling. Once. Again. One day. Another day. He was exhausted mentally and in a daze, as if he was about to fall asleep any second. Do you want to give up? Should we wait until next time? Yejing looked unwilling. If he didn't succeed once, he would have to try again next time. It's so difficult. The abyss energy emitted by the hellfire is almost exhausted. Tianling is like a mountain, and Yejing is the foolish old man who is constantly moving the mountain. Once there is a slight slack, the mountain will return to its original position. The 25th day of retreat. Just when Yejing was about to lose it, a ray of hope illuminated the darkness. The heavenly spirit is loose. As if the abyss energy had found the entrance to the slope, it rushed towards a new part. 99.1%. 99.2%. 1,000-mile embankment is destroyed by an ant nest. This is the truth. As long as you knock on the door, nothing will be a problem. The 26th day of retreat. Boom. A silent roar exploded Yejing's heavenly spirit, and the sounds of heaven and earth echoed in his mind. 100%. The abyss energy conversion is completed. Yejing suddenly opened his eyes, and there was a faint glow in the dark and deep pupils. This is the power of the abyss. Call. It's finally done. Yejing suddenly breathed a sigh of relief, and his tense nerves relaxed. He tilted his whole body and lay down in the furnace space, exhausted. He could feel that he had completed his transformation and entered another stage. This is not a change in realm, he is still at the first level of Destiny realm. This is a change in vital signs. Just like before, he was a human in the solar system who used aura. And now, he who uses the energy of the abyss is a human being outside the solar system. Two concepts. Although he couldn't feel his strength improving, he could feel that he was moving towards an unknown stage. This was progress that had never been seen before in this era. What time is it now? Yejing murmured. He didn't know how long it had been, but it felt like several days had passed. He looked at his weapon first. The model of the sword soaked in dragon's blood has already lit up, and the shadow is burning with flames all over its body. Although it is invisible and has no warmth, it has an inexplicable sense of danger. There is still a little dragon blood left. As long as this last dragon blood is absorbed, the weapon will truly take shape. Maybe 2 more days. Yejing silently estimated. He looked at the black and white cat again, feeling a little regretful in his heart. Why hasn't the black and white cat woke up yet? Shouldn't it? How long has it been? Has it evolved again? Forget it, let's go out and take a look. Yejing shook his head and didn't think about it anymore. It's not about fighting now, so it doesn't matter if it's earlier or later. When he just exited the furnace space, he was stunned for an instant. What's going on? Why are the two of them here? Yejing saw that Gray and Zhao Danggong were standing on his left and right, like guardian gods, guarding him. Moreover, they were still practicing. This was the first time he saw 2 people practicing. Hey, 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 wake up. Yejing pushed the 2 people and woke them up. What's wrong? Is Yejing still alive? Have you found Yejing's will? The 2 opened their eyes in a trance, looking confused. What the hell is this? Yejing couldn't help but frown when he heard what they said. Well, bullshit. I'm awake. After hearing the sound, Gray and Zhao Danggong paused for a moment, then turned their heads stiffly, and saw Yejing open his eyes. They were instantly excited and almost hugged him directly. You finally woke up, we thought you were sitting and dying, Gray said excitedly. Zhao Danggong nodded repeatedly, didn't you say you would stay in seclusion for a few days? How long has it been? Yejing was confused, what's wrong? How long has it been? A year. 26 days. Oh. Yejing looked calm and rolled his eyes, it's only 26 days, what's the hurry? Everyone's in seclusion lasts for months or years. Gray said, the key is that you have been sitting in one place for 26 days. Who doesn't eat, drink, poop or urinate in seclusion? Yejing didn't move for 26 days. Who's in seclusion like this? Gray has also seen the big guys in seclusion. They just find a quiet place where they can't be disturbed to practice, eat and drink when they should, and even find a girl to accompany them for 2 or 3 days because they are afraid of loneliness. How can someone be like Yejing, sitting for 26 days? Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin Ji Bayet. Chapter 504. Following Gray, he walked out, took a shower, and had a nice meal. At the dining table, Yejing asked, Gray, does your house have a place similar to a training ground? Training ground? Gray said, yes, yes, what do you want to do? Fight. Yejing shook his head, when I was in seclusion, I made a weapon with the materials of the fiery dragon, and I want to try it. You made the weapon yourself. Zhao Danggong spurted out the hotness in his mouth, and said in surprise, aren't you in seclusion? When did you make the weapon? We have been guarding you for half a month and haven't seen it. The 2 of them stayed with Yejing for several days to protect him. Yejing sat with his eyes closed, without even moving. When did he make the weapon? Besides, making a weapon requires a lot of things. There must be a furnace, a flame, and a professional technique. But in Gray's villa, there is nothing. How did he make the weapon? Yejing wiped the oil from the corners of his mouth with a napkin, looked at the two people who were surprised without changing his expression, and said in a low voice, "Do you know quantum mechanics?" "When in doubt, quantum mechanics." "We know nothing." The two people were very upset. "What does building weapons have to do with science? Are you trying to make up something again? It's like this every time. Once he encounters something that can't be explained clearly, Yejing will start talking nonsense and make up a seemingly reasonable story to fool them." Yejing nodded subconsciously, then felt something was wrong and shook his head hurriedly. "No, actually, I build weapons, which is related to quantum mechanics. This involves a very deep knowledge point. I call it quantum thought." The two people looked unbelieving, with contempt in their eyes. "You keep talking nonsense, you keep talking nonsense." Yejing doesn't care whether they believe it or not, anyway, he just believes it. He continued, "Quantum is a very magical thing. I can't explain it clearly, but I can explain quantum thoughts. Quantum thoughts are like quantum speed reading. It uses semi-metaphysical means to control quantum, and then deepens the impression of brain waves to achieve the goal. This is a small category of quantum mechanics that I created. You can call it Yejing quantum thoughts, which is a combination of practitioners and science. Practitioners have spiritual power like the sea of stars. This spiritual power is equivalent to thoughts. Use thoughts to control quantum and convert unlimited quantum into what you want." Gray and Zhao Danggong looked at each other, confused. "You said a lot, but I didn't understand a word. So how did you use quantum spirit to make weapons?" Yejing corrected seriously, "It's quantum thoughts." He paused and continued to talk nonsense. "I used my thoughts to control the quantum of the material of the flame dragon, decomposed it into the form I wanted, and then combined these quantum forms with my thoughts, and finally formed a weapon." Gray. Zhao Danggong. Gray's head was dizzy, but it didn't prevent him from accepting the nouns Yejing said, high-sounding nouns. He said in shock, "You mean, you used your thoughts to decompose the materials of the flame dragon, and then combine them into a weapon at will? Isn't this too fantasy?" "No, this is too unfantasy, isn't it?" Yejing nodded seriously, "Yes, that's it. This is how Yejing uses quantum thoughts. I'm going to apply for the 1800th Blue Star Nobel Super Science Award. I hope you support me." "Support? What the hell?" Zhao Danggong was also stunned. When he reacted, he was furious. "Are you kidding me? You can decompose the materials of the flame dragon just by imagining it. Why do you have to practice? I killed Wu Tian in my daydreams. Can Wu Tian die after waking up?" Gray also reacted and was speechless. "If you want to use the practice field, just say it directly. There is no need to apply for the Nobel Super Science Award. There is no such award in our world." Yejing shrugged his shoulders with an indifferent expression. "Anyway, I have said everything I should say. Believe it or not. If you don't believe it, forget it. After dinner. Come with me." Yejing and Zhao Danggong followed Gray out of the hall. It is indeed a super mansion. It has everything you want. Even the practice field is built in the house. This is much more luxurious than the yoga room of ordinary people. Following Gray, we walked to the east corner of the mansion. There was only one small one-story house here, covering an area of less than 10 square meters, and the gate was made of pure mithril. It felt like this gate was more expensive than this small house. "That's it? A training ground? Can 3 people squeeze in?" Zhao Danggong asked doubtfully. "Shut up, follow me." Gray walked to the silver gate and pressed his palm on it. Scanning fingerprints. Scanning pupils. Authentication. Authentication successful, entry allowed. When the silver gate opened, it was not the interior of the room that was revealed, but a staircase leading to the underground. So it's underground. Yejing suddenly realized, I said it couldn't be so small. If it was underground, it would be okay to dig as big as possible. Walking into the underground and through the passage, a small training ground covering an area of 1 square kilometer appeared in their sight. It's better to say it's a training ground than a training hall. When you close the door, it's completely enclosed. No matter what the 3 men are doing inside, no one knows. They can do whatever they want. Yejing glanced up and down and asked, is this place strong? It won't collapse, right? If it were an ordinary training ground, he was really afraid that he wouldn't be able to hold on and it would be smashed. Gray smiled confidently, don't worry, the training ground provided for practitioners will collapse easily. Although he hasn't been here for a long time, Gray vaguely remembers that when he first started practicing, he trained in this training ground. It was said that it was smashed and not even a trace was left. Then he saw that Yejing lightly stamped his foot, making a small hole in the ground. A small pit. This. Yejing looked at Gray suspiciously, feeling uncertain. Are you sure you can handle it? Gray looked away and smiled awkwardly, maybe it's because it's been in disrepair for a long time. Don't worry, it's not a big problem. Yejing was doubtful, but now he had no choice. After all, this was the only place where he could express himself as he pleased. If we go out and find another training ground, it will be very troublesome. Just use it, at worst, use it at critical moments and don't let it get damaged. Once it collapses, the 3 of them will still be buried. At that time, Gray shouldn't let him compensate, right? Yejing thought silently. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 505. Gray asked, do you need us to help you? If you want to adapt to the new weapon, it is better to fight in actual combat. How about hacking and slashing by yourself? Okay, wait a minute. Yejing agreed after hesitating. After getting used to it, he still needed help from Gray and the others. Stand away. After Yejing reminded him, he transferred the new weapon from the furnace space and held it in his right hand. At this moment, this sword can only be considered almost complete, maybe 90%. This is a long sword less than 2 meters long, neither wide, nor thin nor light nor heavy. The long sword is completely flaming red, and its surface is covered with a layer of faint flames. Among the swaying sparks, a wisp of black can be vaguely seen. This is the flame of the raging dragon, this is dragon flame. There is still a trace of hellfire burning inside the dragon flame. A ruby made of dragon's eye is inlaid on the lower end of the sword. It shines strangely, as if through the ruby, the fury of the flaming dragon can be seen. The moment the Yanjian appeared, the temperature of the entire training ground suddenly increased by more than 10 degrees, and an extremely hot and depressing atmosphere followed. The dragon flame covering the surface of the flame sword is burning the air and spiritual energy. This sword is quite interesting. After seeing the flaming sword in Yejing's hand, Gray and Zhao Xingbang's expressions changed slightly, and they put away their contempt. They thought that the things Yejing, a non-professional, built by himself were unreliable at best. But they never expected that it would be so impressive, and even have an inexplicable pressure. Even if it was dozens of meters away, it would weigh on their hearts like a heavy stone. Is this a new weapon? I didn't expect you to actually make it yourself. It's amazing. Gray's eyes were full of envy and he couldn't help but praise it. He himself was not good at using weapons. He had always used his wings as weapons. Seeing Yejing holding such a handsome long sword in his hand, he was a little envious. What's the point of looking good? My golden shovel will break if you touch it, Zhao Xingbang muttered in a low voice. His golden shovel is powerful and incomparable. However, the biggest flaw of the golden shovel is that it looks ugly. The prototype of a shovel can't be seen easily. No matter how precious it is, it can't be used to show off. Who likes shovels, little girl? Gray asked, what is the name of this sword? Yejing looked at the flame sword in his hand with fond eyes, feeling very happy in his heart. I haven't named it yet. Yejing thought for a while and said, let's call it Long Yan. It's simple and clear. Gray, so low. Zhao horizontal bar, the name is useless. Don't be verbose, I'm happy to do it. Yejing became angry from embarrassment and slashed in the direction of the two of them. Then, a dragon flame sword energy of the same level as the dragon's breath of the blazing dragon was instantly drawn out, burning the entire space, and slashed directly at Gray and Zhao horizontally. You're crazy. The terrifying and hot breath hit their faces, making them both jump and hurriedly dodge. The dragon flame sword energy left a trail of dragon breath flames in the air and struck the inner wall of the training ground. In an instant, the inner wall could not withstand such high temperature damage and melted a large area directly. The dragon flame sword energy slashed along the inner wall into the deep soil behind it. After cutting for dozens of meters, it slowly disappeared. Even if the sword energy disappears, there are still scattered flames burning. Seeing this terrifying destructive power, Gray and Zhao were stunned and confused, with a drop of cold sweat streaming down their foreheads. Isn't this too fierce? This is simply cheating. The two swallowed and murmured to themselves. Not only were they confused, but Yejing was also a little confused. What's going on? Why didn't I know it was so fierce? A burst of sword energy came out at random, cutting off the space, burning the spiritual energy, and even the thick soil was not spared. This is just a casual blow. What if I attack with all my strength? If you add abyss energy? Yejing couldn't imagine it, and a word came to his mind. So scary. Yejing calmed down, and the smile on his face became even bigger. After flipping his hands, he made a sword splash and pointed directly at Gray and Zhao on the horizontal bar. Who will be my sparring partner? Gray and Zhao stepped back from the horizontal bar, shaking their heads. Sparring is a piece of shit. Aren't you looking for death? I don't want to fight the flaming dragon again. Scared. That's right, I was just scared. With the terrifying power of the dragon flame sword, if I wasn't careful, I would be injured. If I wasn't careful, I might even lose my life. Sparring partner? Stop making trouble, just chop and chop on your own. For it. Yejing was speechless. No, I will definitely be careful. Zhao Xingbang sneered, who can say for sure? Who doesn't have hands shaking sometimes? Gray looked cautious. I advise you to go out and try to find enemies or villains. How can I have any enemies? In that case, Yejing sighed, a smile flashed in his eyes, since you don't come, don't blame me. After saying that, without hesitation, he slashed another blast of dragon flame sword chi towards Gray and Zhao Xiangbang. This time it was no longer a random attack, the speed and destructive power were greatly increased. A bright red flame passed through the air, slashing directly at the two people. Mean. Damn it, you're doing a sneak attack. The two of them immediately started to curse, and when they opened their mouths, they didn't forget to fight back. Gray stretched out his wings, and feathers of light filled the sky. More than a dozen feathers covered with flashes rushed towards the dragon flame sword chi. Zhao Danggong seemed to have been prepared. When Yejing raised his hand, he had already taken out the golden shovel, and a line of golden light faced the dragon flame sword chi. The feathers of light and the golden light rushed straight towards the dragon flame sword chi. The speed was so fast that they met in the blink of an eye. The momentum seemed to disperse the dragon flame sword chi. However, when they really met, a shocking scene happened. When the feathers of light and the golden light touched the dragon flame sword chi, it was as if some mechanism was opened. The dragon flame sword chi suddenly surged by 3 points, and a super violent energy emanated from the inside out, becoming more and more violent. Then, the red light was bright. Explosion. Quickly escape. Run. Yejing himself also felt this dangerous energy, his face changed drastically, and he turned away without hesitation, and hurriedly left the center of the explosion. The next second. Boom. The sound of the explosion spread throughout the entire training ground, shaking the training ground as if it was about to collapse. And the center of the explosion had already been blasted into a 5-meter wide pit. Looking at this dilapidated scene, recalling the scene just now that was like a small nuclear bomb explosion, Yejing and the other two fell silent. No one knew that the sword energy could also explode. Yejing's face fell by himself, and he was very distressed. What's the use of this? Just a random bombardment, almost blew myself to death. Who dares to use such a dangerous weapon? Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin Ji Bayet. Chapter 506. Yejing looked at the explosion area in the distance, then at the dragon flame in his hand, and fell into silence, feeling a sense of powerlessness. Isn't it? Spending a lot of money to create a waste? A slash and an explosion. Kill 1,000 enemies and lose 800. Who can bear this? Gray and Zhao Xingba also understood Yejing's embarrassment. They walked up to him while suppressing their laughter and patted his shoulders to comfort him. Gray sighed and said, "How about going back to the furnace and recasting it? It might not be too late. At least the materials are still there." Zhao Xingbang suppressed his ridicule. "I told you that you can't make weapons by yourself. If you don't believe it, I accidentally made it. Unfortunately, it's a defective product, ha 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 ha. You are so ridiculous." Yejing said angrily, subconsciously raising Longyan and patting the golden shovel in Zhao Xingbang's hand. Ding ding ding. A very clear sound of metal collision sounded, echoing in the empty training ground. The lingering sound lingered for a long time, shaking Yejing's mind. There was no explosion, not even a spark. Yejing looked at Longyan with a confused look on his face and asked, "What's going on? Why didn't it explode?" The fire shadow on the dragon flame sword trembled slightly, the crimson flame swayed continuously, and a wisp of black flame burned from it. Gray and Zhao were also a little confused on the horizontal bar. "What's going on? It exploded just now, why doesn't it explode now? Is there any calculation of impact force? If the amount is less than a certain amount, the explosion will not be triggered?" The corners of Yejing's mouth raised slightly, a smile appeared on his face, and he stared at the two of them maliciously. "Let's continue training. We must understand all the functions of dragon flame today." He didn't want to be unable to use dragon flames on a real battlefield, that would be too embarrassing. "Come again." Zhao Xingbang wailed, and he regretted coming with him. "First think about the difference between the first and second blows of dragon flame," Gray said. "The most obvious thing is the attack power. The sword energy of the first blow collided with the golden light, producing a huge impact and collision force, and finally triggered the explosion mechanism of the sword energy. The second blow was just a subconscious swing of Yejing's sword. It was not considered an attack at all. The damage was extremely low and there was no point that triggered the explosion." Zhao Xingbang analyzed. "That makes sense." Yejing nodded, "Then let's try it once. Zhao, go 100 meters away on the horizontal bar, and we will continue to fight. You really don't treat people as human beings." Zhao Xingbang muttered dissatisfiedly, but still walked to a distance of 100 meters away. "Are you ready?" "Ready." Yejing's anger sank into his dantian, his expression solemn. He held the dragon flame in one hand and volleyed in the direction of Zhao's horizontal bar. With just such a gentle stroke, the scorching dragon flame sword energy, like a flaming dragon's breath, condensed out of thin air and slashed towards Zhao's horizontal bar. Well done. Zhao horizontal bar was shocked, and the golden shovel shone brightly. The golden light illuminated a corner of the training ground, following his movements. With a horizontal slash and a vertical slash, a pure golden cross appeared in mid-air and pressed towards the dragon flame sword. It's so fancy, you really know how to show off. When Yejing saw the huge golden cross, he couldn't help but murmured, wondering if he should also come up with some gorgeous sword styles, even if they were flashy, at least they could be used to show off. The moment the golden cross faced the dragon flame sword chi, an unparalleled huge wave erupted from the center point, and an energy explosion like a sea wave appeared and spread to the surroundings. Boom! Big bang! A small mushroom cloud appeared and exploded into a huge crater with a radius of 10 meters. The entire training ground trembled, and the upper part trembled, as if it was about to collapse. The smoke and dust dissipated, revealing once again the miserable pit. The horrific explosion made them all tremble. How terrible! How can I use this weapon? Before he could make a few cuts, he and the enemy were killed together. You saw it too, it will still explode. Zhao Xingba shrugged his shoulders and said. The explosion is definitely going to happen, now we have to find a way to prevent it from exploding. Call. Yejing took a deep breath, spit it out, and waved to Zhao horizontal bar, come here, I seem to have caught a little bit. Weapons made by oneself will almost never cause harm to oneself. The reason why they can explode must be another reason. He seemed to understand a little bit. What's wrong? Zhao ran over on the horizontal bar and stopped 2 meters away from Yejing. Don't move here. The two were 2 meters apart. Under Zhao Hanban's fearful gaze, Yejing raised the dragon flame sword and pointed it directly at him. Hey, hey, hey. What are you doing? Don't point such dangerous things at people. Zhao Xingbang looked frightened and subconsciously wanted to retreat. It's okay. Just lift the golden shovel and let's try it in close combat. After Yejing said that, he didn't give Zhao Hanbang a chance to react. He slashed horizontally with his sword, and with a dazzling fire shadow, he slashed straight into Zhao Hanbang's waist. Zhao Hanbang was shocked and hurriedly defended himself with a golden shovel, sticking it to his chest to stop the dragon flame sword. Ding! There was another clear and pleasant sound of metal collision. The sound is nice, not harsh at all, it's good metal. This time Yejing didn't just strike casually, but used 50% of his strength. But it didn't explode. Didn't it explode? Zhao Xingbang was slightly startled, what's going on? Do it again. Yejing's face was solemn, and he rotated 360 degrees, using the power of rotation to increase his attack power. Finally, he raised it high and struck Zhao horizontally on the forehead. You're going to kill me when you're fighting. You can't get it out without testing hard. Zhao Xingbar gritted his teeth, holding the tip of the golden shovel with one hand and the handle of the golden shovel with the other hand, horizontally above his head, trying to withstand Yejing's full blow head-on. Overwhelming pressure appeared from the top of his head. Zhao Hanbang's eyes showed a trace of panic and fear. Isn't this a big deal? Ding 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 ding. This ding is really nice. Especially without the explosions. The impact and pressure from top to bottom directly hit Zhao's whole body on the horizontal bar. His body trembled violently, his legs softened, and he fell to the ground on one knee, holding onto the other leg without bending. The ground beneath his feet cracked for several meters, and he was forcefully knocked down about half a meter. A faint streak of blood flowed from the palm of his hand and flowed down to the ground. You're hurt. Yejing was slightly startled when he saw the blood flow and hurriedly withdrew the dragon flame. Fine. Zhao Xingbang shook his head and stood up from the ground. He first looked at his palm and found that it was just a layer of skin. Then he ignored it and said indifferently, is this called an injury? You are too underestimated. Me. As he spoke, he put his slightly trembling right hand in his pocket and secretly clenched his fist. Damn it, why is this guy so fierce? It's okay. Yejing breathed a sigh of relief. How embarrassing it would be if the experimental weapon was damaged again. He set his sights on Dragon Flame and probably knew a little bit. Dragon Flame's attack range is divided into two types, one long range and one short range. It seems that there is a bit of hellfire hidden in the sword energy in the long range, and when that bit of hellfire collides with other energy, it will produce a huge explosion effect. But this is not the case with short-range attacks. The short-range attack is a battle between weapon and weapon, skill and skill. It may contain a hint of hellfire and increase the damage, but it will not explode. A handful of dragon flames, possessing both attack methods. This made Yejing very satisfied. After all, he had no means of long-range attack before. The previous sword could only be used in close combat. Once he encountered a wretched enemy that could do long-range damage, he would fall into a passive position and could only look for opportunities to get closer and counter-attack. It's different now. With Dragon Flame's long-range attack, you can confront long-range enemies head-on. If the blast point is close to the enemy, you can also produce an explosion to catch them off guard. At this point, the effect of the Dragon Flame sword is reflected. How's it going? It seems you understand. Gray came over from the side and asked after seeing Yejing's smile. Yejing nodded, without hiding, and said directly, only the long-range attack of Dragon Flame will explode, but it will not explode at short range, so that it will not hurt yourself. What a spiritual weapon! Zhao Xingbang said with envy that he had used the golden shovel for several years and wanted to get another secondary weapon. Then let's continue. Yejing was smiling. Just when he was about to say something more, his expression suddenly changed and he suddenly looked up. There is an extremely terrifying energy approaching rapidly. Coming soon. No, it's already here. Not only Yejing, but also Gray and Zhao Xianba also felt it. This terrifying energy was enough to destroy this training ground. An enemy attack. Is it a missile? Airstrike. What a waste of analysis. Run. Yejing held one by one and hurriedly ran towards the door of the training ground. He didn't know if it would be too late to run out. Obviously, it was too late. The three of them had just arrived at the door, and before Gray could even scan his eyes and press his fingerprints, the top of the training ground had collapsed. This is not a normal collapse, but it was crushed by something heavy. Damn it! You're so stupid. Guanjiao's defense. Oh! I forgot. Gray was stunned for a moment, and only then did he react. He opened his wings super quickly, and layers of white light shrouded them, tightly protecting the three of them. Then, there was an earth-shaking loud noise, as if a tall building collapsed and the ground shook. The super-powerful energy impact broke through Gray's defense in the blink of an eye, knocking the three of them to the wall and crashing into the wall more than 10 meters away. Puff puff puff. 3 mouthfuls of blood spurted out from the three of them. Regardless of their bodies alone suffered huge damage. Their heads were also dizzy and they almost fainted. What the hell happened? The sudden attack made Yejing's anger rise all of a sudden. He had been in seclusion for a month, how could someone still cause trouble to him? Have no idea. Gray rubbed his aching chest, feeling lingering fear. If the light feather defense hadn't been activated at the last second, they might not even be able to stand up now. Go out and see if there is a terrorist attack on your home. Zhao stood up from the horizontal bar with difficulty, and the three of them walked out along the dozen-meter-long hole that was smashed. When they saw the scene in front of them, they were stunned and didn't know what to say. When the smoke and dust dispersed, the training ground was in pieces and in disrepair. The top had collapsed and the ground was completely broken. It was obviously unusable. This is not the point. The point is that where they were just now, there was a huge rock quietly parked, a huge rock with flames burning on its surface. Meteorite. This is a meteorite. Zhao Danggong's eyes widened, with an unbelievable look. Oh my god, we were hit by a meteorite. Gray was shocked, his brain was a little confused. What is the probability of being hit by a meteorite? Less than 0.00000000000001%. How could it be such a coincidence? A meteorite just hit their training ground, even where they were just now. No, it was where Zhao Danggong was. Unintentionally, Gray and Zhao Danggong looked at the dragon flame in Yejing's hand, with a weird look on their faces. What do you mean? Yejing was frightened by the sight and took a step back, subconsciously hiding the dragon flame behind him. Gray swallowed his saliva and said in surprise, "This meteorite, could it be summoned by your weapon?" "Don't talk nonsense." Yejing hurriedly denied it and shook his head repeatedly. "How is it possible? This is a meteorite. It is in the sky, I am on the ground, how can there be any connection?" "Coincidence, it must be a coincidence," Yejing said solemnly. Before he finished denying, he heard Zhao Danggong shouting twice, and in a blink of an eye, he had already rushed to the side of the meteorite without knowing when. "Come here." The two walked over in confusion, and then understood what Zhao Danggong was calling, and cold sweat suddenly appeared on Yejing's forehead. Gray first took a look at the flames on the meteorite, then turned his head to look at Yejing. "The flames on this meteorite are exactly the same as the surface of your dragon flame, right? The flames burning on the meteorite are exactly the same as those on the dragon flame sword, both of which are the flames of the fiery dragon." Yejing's whole body tensed up, and he forced a smile. "Coincidence, it must be a coincidence. Coincidence is bullshit." Zhao Danggong was furious. "It must be summoned by your weapon. What kind of broken weapon is this? If you want to fight, just fight well. Who can bear the meteorite falling from the sky when you disagree with each other? Are you going to die with the enemy? The meteorite pulled down from the sea of stars, let alone them, even ordinary extraordinary realms can't stand it. This smash can smash people into powder. This is just a small meteorite. If you accidentally pull a 1,000-meter-long meteorite, wouldn't it destroy the magic city?" Yejing smiled bitterly. "I don't know about this situation. Who knew that this weapon can be played like this? This is not a joke. This is not like the explosion just now. Once the meteorite falls from the sky, it may really cause great damage to yourself if the distance is close. This is an attack that does not distinguish between friend and foe." When Yejing thought about being killed by the meteorite he summoned, he couldn't help shivering all over. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bouletin G. Bayet. Chapter 507. One sword will cause a meteorite to fall, and with thousands of swords, wouldn't it be like a meteor shower? Yejing looked at the huge meteorite in front of him and said he was tired. Why does this weapon feel so annoying? But he just said that it is impossible for a meteorite to fall every time he attacks. He tried several times before and only one meteorite fell. It seems that there is a chance. I just don't know what the chance is. Thinking about it, Yejing looked at Zhao Danggong with a very different look, and Zhao Danggong retreated repeatedly in fear. What's that look in your eyes? Don't say it. Don't say anything. I know what you are going to say. It's impossible. Absolutely impossible. Whoever wants to accompany you can accompany you, I won't accompany you. Before Yejing opened his mouth, Zhao Danggong refused very firmly. As soon as he saw Yejing's eyes, he knew what Yejing was going to say. It didn't matter if he practiced before, but when a meteorite fell, forget it. She is not his wife or lover. Isn't this just playing with him desperately? If someone is hit by a meteorite by accident, he will be turned into powder. Don't look at me, I will run away if you look at me again. Yejing touched his nose and smiled awkwardly. He didn't expect Zhao Danggong to refuse so decisively. I didn't say anything. Well, it doesn't matter whether you say it or not. It means the same thing. Or, let's stop here today. Gray gave Zhao Danggong a look and said that he couldn't continue. This is his home. Still practicing? A meteorite collapsed an underground training ground of his family. If there are a few more, his manor will be destroyed. Okay. Yejing nodded angrily, looking like he was still unsatisfied. It's a pity that he didn't test the true power of Dragon Flame. Before he could use his full strength, Gray and Zhao Danggong couldn't hold on. Let's talk about it later when there is a chance. Yejing sighed in his heart. This was the first time he wanted to take the initiative to work and see if he could find a few enemies to sacrifice the sword. Let's put this meteorite aside for now. I'll ask the servants to deal with it later. I didn't care about the meteorite anymore. I returned to the main villa and followed Gray to the hot spring room. It's comfortable to soak in the hot spring. Gray smiled and pushed open the door of the hot spring room. At first glance, Yejing and Zhao Danggong felt the power of money. This is a hot spring room of 200 square meters. The yellow and white lights on the top are shining, and the white mist is surrounded by the air. The air is moist and the temperature is humid. The ground under your feet is not tiles, but a velvet carpet. It is a thick velvet carpet that is very comfortable to step on. In front of you is a natural hot spring with a diameter of 150 meters. It is said that it was dug out from thousands of meters below. There is a rockery in the natural hot spring, surrounded by green bamboo. You are so rich. Seeing this scene, Yejing couldn't help but sigh and envy. How many spiritual stones are needed to build it? Such a large hot spring room is bigger than his small villa. Rich man, what else do you have at home? Zhao Danggong gave Gray a thumbs up. He saw it in Gray's manor these days. A large swimming pool, a water park, a bathhouse, and a hot spring. All done. Gray laughed, my family doesn't run a brothel. Your family better not run one. Gray took the two of them to change into bath towels, walked to the side and began to wash the stains on his body. When practicing just now, he got a lot of sweat and dirt stuck to his body, which was very uncomfortable. After washing the dirt on his body, Gray was the first to jump into the hot spring. Feeling the double friction of moisture and high temperature, the fatigue on his body suddenly disappeared a lot, and he couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief. Ah, cool. Yejing jumped into the hot spring second. This seemed to be his first time to take a hot spring bath. He didn't know the process, so he just followed Gray to close his eyes, raise his head and open his mouth. Ah, cool. Ah. Zhao sprinted high on the horizontal bar, like diving, and jumped into the hot spring, splashing a lot of waves. Cool. The three young men leaned side by side on the hot spring, looking up, opening their mouths and closing their eyes, all in unison. Yejing smiled softly, it's so comfortable to have a rich man as a friend. Zhao Danggong nodded, I agree. Gray laughed, nonsense, you guys are so poor, you can build my manor. Yejing asked curiously, how much is this big manor? Gray said, the land in the center of the magic city is more expensive, about 10 billion, plus decoration and construction, more than 3 billion. Yejing, dot. Zhao Danggong, dot. Sorry to bother you. We are still poor, we shouldn't be crushed by the super rich. 3 billion to build a manor? Wouldn't it be good for me to marry 3,000 wives with this money? After soaking comfortably for more than half an hour, Gray suddenly said something. We should ask the chief to come and enjoy himself. He seems to be working all the time. Yejing laughed and said, it's impossible for them to come. The dean and his old men are not in the Magic City. Most of the Magic City directors have left. The chief is very busy. If you say this to the chief, he will be jealous and beat you up. Gray thought for a moment, that's true, but I'd better not tell him. But we can ask Xiaokui and the others to come. Those 3 girls should like this kind of thing, after all, it's good for the skin. When Zhao Danggong heard that he was asking the beauties to come, his eyes lit up and he immediately became excited. Don't just talk. Call them. Call them to play together. He was not familiar with AI Xiaokui and was afraid of Xiao Qinglian, but that didn't mean he didn't want to go to the hot spring with the beauties. Gray hesitated, can they come? This is not a mixed bath. Yejing said, try it. After that, he went out of the hot spring, returned to the dressing room, picked up the phone, and called AI Xiaokui. The phone rang for 2 seconds, and AI Xiaokui's somewhat cold voice came out. Is there anything? Yejing said, what are you doing? AI Xiaokui replied, I'm shopping with Xiao Yan and Qinglian in the mall. I've been in seclusion for more than 20 days, why are you still shopping? Yejing hesitated for a moment and said, we are taking a hot spring bath at Gray's house. Do you want to come over? Hot spring. Before AI Xiaokui could answer, there was a chattering voice on the other end of the phone. I want to go to the hot spring. I haven't taken a hot spring bath before. Do you want to try it? I heard that hot springs are good for the skin. Let's go and have a look. Half a minute later, AI Xiaokui said helplessly, okay, that big manner, we'll go there right away. Yejing hung up the phone and returned to the hot spring. Are they coming? Zhao Danggong looked expectant. Yejing nodded, come over in a while. The 3 men smiled. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bouletin G. Bayet. Chapter 509. A smile is a smile, if you want to see it, you want to see it. However, everything is not so beautiful. More than half an hour later, Gray went to pick up AI Xiaokui and the others at the gate. Yejing and Zhao were soaking in the hot springs with YY smiles on their faces. This is it. The 2 of them have already hooked up. Let's go in quickly. Gray had a calm expression, feeling very gentlemanly. Thank you, Brother Gray. Ji Qinjian cheered and rushed into the hot spring room. Xiao Yan, change clothes first. AI Xiaokui followed in like an old woman. This was done well. Xiao Qinglian patted Gray's arm angrily, praised him, and then walked in. Gray was smiling and just about to walk in, but was pushed out by Xiao Qinglian. Gray. Gray was surprised and asked, Qinglian, what are you doing? Xiao Qinglian looked surprised, why did you come in while we were soaking in the hot spring? Suddenly, a trace of cold sweat broke out on Gray's forehead, and he forced a smile, this is a mixed bath. Let's all take a dip together. Xiao Qinglian said with a smile, haha, you think too much. Damn it. Gray was anxious, isn't he a tool? He hurriedly said, but Yejing and Zhao Xiangbang are still inside. He'll be gone soon. Xiao Qinglian walked into the hot spring room under Gray's confused gaze. While AI Xiaokui and Ji Qinjian were changing clothes, she walked to the hot spring with her eyes tightly closed. Qinglian, you should change your clothes. Seeing Xiao Qinglian walking to the hot spring dressed properly, Yejing thought she didn't know and quickly reminded her. Then, in response to the violence he and Zhao horizontally barred, Xiao Qinglian was seen holding one in one hand, and with the 2 of them looking frightened, they threw it towards the outside of the hot spring room. The distance of tens of meters was too easy for Xiao Qinglian. Bang bang. After 2 collisions, Yejing and Zhao fell to the outside of the hot spring room wrapped in bath towels, looking confused. Thank you 3 gentlemen, let's go prepare dinner. Xiao Qinglian said with a smile, and then closed the door of the hot spring room tightly. Anyone who dares to peek will be directed to the eunuch. Finally, he left a threat. Yejing and the other three looked at each other, their faces confused and at a loss, and they remained silent for a long time. Gray pursed his lips and said blankly, "Our clothes are still in there." Zhao was about to cry on the horizontal bar, "I haven't soaked enough yet." Yejing sighed, "I knew it. I knew it was impossible. You shouldn't have such unrealistic illusions. The three of them are not just random girls. They are all extremely clean. How could they be in the hot springs with them?" Silence. Gray sighed, "Let's go to my room to find some clothes for you." Coming to Gray's room, his room was bigger than the main hall of Yejing's house. In the middle of the room, against the wall, was a large bed. A large bed 10 meters wide. Just this bed shows how messed up the nobles are. Despise. Despise. Yejing and Zhao Xingba gave Gray a look. Gray's face was not red, his heart was not beating, and he looked indifferent. This is the life of the rich. My father's bed is bigger, so I can sleep comfortably. Yejingpi smiled but said, "It would be more comfortable if we all sleep together." Envy, jealousy, and hatred. Practitioners are inherently strong and are not afraid of kidney deficiency. Gray took out 3 sets of designer pajamas from his closet and threw 2 sets to them. "Put it on." After changing into comfortable clothes, he continued to follow Gray around their main villa to experience what Zhenhao's home was like. On the corridor alone, I saw 3 beautiful maids and a steward. The floor is covered with expensive carpets, and an art painting is hung every few meters on the wall. Although it is incomprehensible, it does not affect the price. Yejing asked curiously, "Don't your father and his wives live here?" Gray shook his head, "The main villa is used to entertain guests. My father and his wife had difficulty moving, so they simply moved out. Now I live here alone. In this main villa, there are 56 maids, 13 stewards, more than 20 chefs, and a dozen handymen. Everyone has a clear division of labor. They must maintain this villa without losing our family's face. Well, it's for entertaining guests. More than 100 servants, 1 master. What else can be said? If you have money, take it." I followed Gray to the restaurant. It was just a large restaurant with only 1 table. A 30-meter-long dining table, haha. There is a rail-like glass plate on the tabletop, which is slowly rotating to facilitate dining. There are noble chairs on both sides of the dining table, and there is a main seat at the top. Gray sat on the main seat swaggeringly, and Yejing sat on the chairs on the left. Ding ding ding. Gray rang the bell, and a few seconds later a middle-aged man wearing a deacon's uniform came over, bent slightly, and asked respectfully, "Master Gray, what are your orders?" Gray said calmly, "Are there any good ingredients at home?" The middle-aged deacon replied without thinking, "The whip of the heavenly demonic beast Overlord Tiger, the meat of the heavenly demonic beast Qinghai Bai Niu, the eggs of the heavenly demonic beast Bing Qingluan, etc. etc." Shocked. A series of ingredients made Yejing and Zhao Xingba's scalp numb, and heaven-level monsters were used as ingredients. It's so extravagant. I haven't even seen a few heavenly class magical beasts. Awesome, I've taken it orally. Yejing coughed twice and interrupted, "Well, that tyrant tiger whip, I think I can try it." Zhao Danggong nodded repeatedly, "I think I can, too." Gray looked at the 2 of them with a smile in his eyes, "I'm afraid that after you eat, you will go back to your room to practice all night." He turned to look at the middle-aged deacon and ordered, "Use the best ingredients to make some dishes, not too many, 30 or so will be enough. Also, there are a few girls among the VIPs, look at some girls' favorites. Go." "Yes." The middle-aged deacon nodded in response, then turned back to prepare. "Not too many, 30 or so. This is a perfect score for pretending." Yejing said that he was numb, and an idea came to his mind. It turns out that selling salted fish can also make so much money. Should I start a business too? This thought just came up and then it was extinguished. Forget it. I know what kind of person I am. I am not cut out for business. I should just kill monsters and make money. An hour later. They haven't finished their bath yet? How long has it been? Zhao Danggong asked in doubt. Girls need more than an hour to take a bath, not to mention a hot spring bath, Gray said casually. Don't worry, call them after the food is served. Oh, you know a lot. Yejing and Zhao Danggong looked at Gray with meaningful eyes. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Buletin Ji Bayet. Chapter 510. After 30 or 40 exquisite dishes were served, Gray summoned 2 maids to the hot spring to bring Xiao Qinglian and the others over. A table of beautiful and fragrant dishes instantly attracted the attention of the 3 of them. When have these 3 girls ever seen such a grand scene? Ai Xiaokui and Ji Qinjian were not to be mentioned. They didn't have much money to begin with. After this meal, Ai Xiaokui's half-year work was in vain. But it was the same for big guys like Xiao Qinglian. She had been wandering in the Star Sea before. Let alone delicious food, sometimes she even ate raw food. She could make do with it, and with her strength, she could survive even without eating. The table of delicious food in front of the 3 of them now directly changed their eyes, shining with golden light. Xiao Qinglian and the others focused their attention on the food, while Yejing and the others focused their attention on them. Their eyes were straight. Oh, I have to say that Gray did a great job this time. Brother, let's come to soak in the hot spring again when we have a chance. How about we soak in it later? The water hasn't been drained yet. Pervert. There was no need for Gray, the host, to tell them to start eating. After everyone was together, they naturally started eating. They ate for more than an hour. After a meal, the plates were almost licked clean. 30 or 40 dishes were eaten up without a single drop left. I have to say that this is the good thing about practitioners. Their stomachs are as infinite as the universe. They can never get full no matter how much they eat. And no matter what they eat, no matter how much sugar and calories they consume, their weight will not increase. Perhaps many girls have entered the practice because of this. It's really hard for them. After the meal, Gray was about to announce his next arrangement, but Xiao Qinglian stood up first. We are full and comfortable after soaking. Let's go and go shopping. Gray. Gray was confused. Didn't he leave immediately? Eat my food, drink my drinks, and leave after a one-stop service. Isn't that good? Am I just a tool? Wait a minute. Before Gray finished speaking, Xiao Qinglian interrupted him domineeringly. No need to say anything, thank you today, we will come again if there is a chance, goodbye. Ji Qinjian smiled and took Xiao Qinglian's hand, waved to Yejing and the other 2, bye, 3 big brothers. Ai Xiaokui nodded at them and followed them out. Yejing and the other 2 looked at each other. It's really cool to come and go in a hurry. Hey, what's next? Zhao Danggong sighed and turned to ask Gray. Gray rolled his eyes and said unhappily, what? Go back to sleep. At this moment, Yejing's mobile phone suddenly rang, attracting the attention of the 2. Who is it? Yejing picked up the phone and took a look, and couldn't help but smile bitterly. It seems that I can't sleep. Jizuki called. It was nearly a month since we talked again. If nothing happened, I could swallow the phone. Yejing sighed secretly and answered the phone reluctantly. Jizuki said softly, Director Yejing, have you rested well? Yejing said with a bitter face, if I say no, is it okay? Jizuki's sneer came over, what do you think? Do you want to quit? Okay, I understand. What's the matter? Is it troublesome? Jizuki said, I'm on a business trip to the water area. It seems that some relics have appeared there. You can go and take a look. I also heard that the activities of the Dark World personnel were discovered there. You can investigate by the way. Yejing was silent. He understood that these were two tasks. 1. To explore the ruins in the water area. 2. To investigate the activities of the Dark World personnel. Two more troublesome things. Yejing was about to refuse, but the words were stuck in his throat and he couldn't say them. The call tone of the mobile phone was very loud, and Gray next to him also heard it. I'm familiar with the water area. Gray's eyes lit up and he said hurriedly. Are you familiar with him? Yejing glanced at him and was slightly stunned. Then he suddenly remembered that Gray's family sells salted fish and aquatic products. More than half of the aquatic products on the entire Blue Star come from the water area, and they must have close contacts with Gray's family. The first and second largest families in the water area have business dealings with our family. I will be a VIP if I go there, Gray said proudly. This is the truth. Gray once went to the water area and was treated as a high-level VIP. After all, their family's aquatic product sales channels are what the water area family needs most. Yejing agreed. Let's go together, Gray urged on the side. Yejing looked at him speechlessly, feeling very tired. Brother, this is work, not travel. At the same time, Jizuki's devilish voice sounded in his ears. Don't forget that you have no right to refuse. The next time, the dean will call you personally. He may even send you to the water area in person. Yejing nodded decisively, I know. When will we leave? Jizuki said, within 3 days, but you don't have to worry too much. After all, you are sent there to obtain information about the ruins and the Dark World. You don't have to fight. Just think of it as a relaxing trip. Yejing was so angry. You said it so nicely, why don't you send me some thugs? Thugs? Yejing's eyes lit up, you said travel, then it's okay for me to take Qinglian and the others with me. It must be said that when it comes to free thugs, Xiao Qinglian is still qualified. With her strength, ordinary half-saints can't deal with her. Jizuki agreed after hesitating for a while. Okay, but keep an eye on Xiao Yan and don't let her run around. I will also notify the Water District Board of Directors to pick you up. Okay then, let's go when we're ready. One phone call mobilized them all. Yejing hung up the phone and was about to tell Gray and the others about the arrangements when he found that Zhao was no longer on the horizontal bar. Where is Zhao's horizontal bar? Yejing was confused. I'm here. From outside, Zhao Xingbang walked in with a smile. He was holding a towel in his hand and was carefully wiping the golden shovel. Why did you go? Zhao Xingbang looked excited and said excitedly, aren't you going to dig for relics? I need to take good care of my golden shovel. This is a powerful tool for digging treasures. Yejing, dot. Gray, dot. It hurts to hold my forehead. What kind of ears are these? Detecting ruins sounds like digging ruins to him. Forget it, it's all the same. Gray suggested, my family has an airship fleet going to the waters every week to purchase. I will arrange for them to take us. He thought for a while and continued, the next time should be the day after tomorrow, okay. Yejing nodded, it would be best to follow the large army. I will also contact Qinglian and the others. Arrangements are in order. 2 days later. Magic City Aircraft Center. Edward Xianyu purchased the Kongting fleet. I have been sorting out the outline of the new volume in the past 2 days. This should be the countdown volume. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin Ji Bayet. Chapter 512. Before boarding the airship, Yejing and others trembled. They originally wanted to board the airship quietly and head straight for the water. But unexpectedly, Jizuki came to see them off in his busy schedule. Jizuki stood in front of the airship with a dark face, waiting for Yejing and others to fall into the trap. Who will go up and take that big brother away? Standing in the distance, Zhao Danggong said with a timid face. Jizuke was in a state of anger now, and no one wanted to touch this bad luck. Gray shook his head repeatedly. If we go now, won't we just get scolded? It's your airship. If you don't go, who will go? Why should I go to my airship? Neither Zhao Danggong nor Gray wanted to confront Jizuke. They turned their heads together, and finally put their hopeful eyes on Yejing. Yejing was ashamed. Brother, don't look at me. You are a director of the board of directors. You have been away from work for a month. The chief must be here to scold you. Yejing was pushed out and approached Jizuke cautiously. Chief. Jizuke stared at Yejing with a gloomy face, and said sarcastically, Hey, Director Ye is here. He finally showed up after resting for so long. Yejing smiled and said, I didn't rest for long, just a few days. He also muttered in a low voice, if it weren't for the collection of blades at home, I would probably play for another month. Hee. Before the airship took off, Yejing was scolded by Jizuke for half an hour, and then told about the things he needed to do when going to the water area for another half an hour. Contact the Water Area Council. Explore the ruins of the water area. Search for people in the dark world. Jizuke arranged several tasks in one breath, and Yejing's head was big, and he couldn't help wailing. Are there no others? Most of the directors of the board of directors are above the extraordinary realm. Most of them are now in the ruins of the lonely city. Only some young directors are working. Although they are called young directors, most of them are middle-aged people in their 50s or 60s. It's just that their strength is a bit low. After Jizuke finished the arrangements, Xiao Qinglian and Ai Zyakui also came over. Then we'll go first. Yejing nodded at Jizuke and then looked at Gray and the others who were hiding far away. Why are you still standing there? Arrange us to get on the airship. Oh. Gray was slightly stunned, walked over, and led the way. This is a huge commercial airship. How many are there? The length alone is more than 2,000 meters, and the width is also hundreds of meters. This airship is empty now, but when it returns from the waters, it will be filled with salted fish. No, it's aquatic products. Then on the return voyage from the waters to the Demon City, it will pass through dozens of cities and sell them one by one. This trip took about 3 months, and the net profit of an airship exceeded 100 million spirit stones. Travel. Travel, Xiao Qinglian shouted with a smile. Swim. Swim, Ji Qinjian jumped up and down, almost unable to contain her joy. As Ji Qinjian was born in the Magic City, she had never left the Magic City and had never seen the sea. After all, the sea is only on the water. You too, be honest. Yejing grabbed the lively Ji Qinjian and pressed her head down. He didn't dare to press Xiao Qinglian's head, but Ji Qinjian could still be dealt with. Got it? Ji Qinjian pouted, looking dissatisfied. It's okay, we are all on the airship anyway, Gray said indifferently. Even if he ran, he could run to where? As long as he didn't jump off the airship, it would be okay. When he walked onto the airship, the first thing he saw was the vast deck. There were rows of guards standing on both sides of the deck. There were also some people in white clothes packing things. It's so big. Ji Qinjian was about to run up to the deck to play, but this time she was pulled back by Ai Zyakui. Ai Zyakui said, "Don't cause trouble for Gray." Gray waved his hand, "I've said it's okay. I'll take you to where you live first. You can move around freely after the assignment." The airship is divided into 2 floors, the upper floor and the lower floor. The upper floor is the central area. The lower floor is the residential area. The lower 2 floors are the commodity cold snow area. Gray took them to the residential area. Room number 1 in the front is Gray's, and the rest are optional. Gray pointed to the room next to him and said, Yejing, you live in number 2, Zhao Danggong no 3. Qinglian number 4, Ji Qinjian number 5, Ai Xiaokui number 6, if there is any accident, we can take care of each other if we are together. Little Qinglian snorted and said proudly, what can happen with me here? Come on, one by one. She waved her fist to protest. Gray was sweating coldly, don't do it, if you punch through the airship, we will all be finished. Although this large airship is strong, it can't withstand a punch from little Qinglian in the three disasters realm. At this moment, there was a sudden violent vibration from the airship, which scared Ji Qinjian and she hurriedly supported Ai Xiaokui beside her. It's okay, the airship took off, you guys go into the room first, it's best to wait until the airship is in the sky before coming out. Gray explained that the airship would shake for a while when it just took off, and it would be fine when it started flying. Everyone went back to their own homes and found their own rooms. Yejing walked into the room, which was a luxurious suite with 3 rooms in one room, a bathroom, a toilet, and a living room. Damn rich people. Yejing leaned on the sofa, mumbling. It was just a room like this. If it was a house in the Demon City, it would cost at least several million. But here it was just a guest room. The airship rose straight up, and after reaching a height of several thousand meters, the vibration stopped and began to move. Heading towards the water. It was not far from the water, nor was it close. It was necessary to cross dozens of cities and several seas of stars to reach the destination. This was a long journey while working. Yejing looked out the window, the blue sky and the silent breeze. The demon city below was getting smaller and smaller until only a black dot was left. After resting for more than half an hour, Gray's voice spread throughout Yejing's room, scaring him. Yejing, come out and play. Gray's voice shocked Yejing through the communicator. What the hell? Yejing subconsciously jumped up from the sofa, looked around with a vigilant face, and finally looked up and saw a big speaker. Damn, you're still installing a big speaker in the room, Yejing had a black line on his face. Isn't this convenient for communication? Gray said. Yejing suspected, you've installed surveillance cameras, right? Want to spy or something? His room doesn't matter, but there are 3 girls living next to it. Gray, dot. The loudspeaker suddenly paused and fell silent. You really installed surveillance cameras? Yejing's face sank, and he said solemnly, please take me with you. A few seconds later, Gray's voice came over. This speaker is on one channel, and others can hear it too. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 513. The sky was clear and the sun was bright. Yejing and the other 2 leaned on the outer deck of the airship, looking at the slowly moving city and mountains below. The breeze blew by, and they felt a little tired and had a headache. Yejing was fine. Except for his messy clothes and red eyes, there was nothing wrong. He ran fast. But Gray and Zhao Danggong were different. Yejing was standing on the outer deck to enjoy the wind, while the 2 of them were fleeing. Gray's precious leather armor was torn to pieces, his face was red and purple, his arms were pressed on the deck, and his entire upper body hurt every time he moved. Zhao Danggong was even worse. He had multiple minor fractures all over his body, and his eye sockets were beaten into a giant panda shape. If they hadn't moved quickly, he would have been knocked off the airship by Xiao Qinglian's punch. Well, although Gray could fly, it was still very embarrassing to be knocked off the airship. Yejing sighed, so, they take their own baths, why should we join in the fun? Not only did we not see anything, but we also got beaten for nothing. Just now, the 3 wretched people who had nothing to do wanted to rush into the women's bathroom, but unfortunately they were too slow and too purposeful, so they were stopped when they were 20 meters away from the women's bathroom. In fact, it was not their slowness, but Xiao Qinglian's speed was too fast, beyond imagination. Before the three of them could react, several fist shadows flashed by, and with 3 bangs, they crashed into the wall of the airship in a very embarrassing way. In the end, they could only choose to blow the wind on the outer deck. Hearing Yejing complain, Zhao Danggong rolled his eyes. "Whatever you say now is bullshit, it's not the time for your eyes to shine just now." Gray sneered, "We two are bad guys, he is the good guy." Yejing retorted, "I am a gentleman, how could I shine for the sake of seeing things? In fact, I wanted to stop you just now, but unfortunately I was a step too late." "Gentlemen? How many gentlemen? The speed of the airship is not slow. If it is not full of cargo, it only takes about half a month to get from the Demon City to the waters. However, considering the weight of the cargo and the stopover on the way, plus the non-straight air route, this time will be greatly extended to 1 month. There is no way, after all, the Blue Star is not a hole now, and flying across cities is like traveling in the stars, and it requires many levels. Now going from the Demon City to the waters is like going from the Blue Star to Mercury in the past, it is definitely not as simple as running a train. It hurts." Zhao Danggong rubbed the wound on his body and muttered with a bitter face. "I have medicine here, just take it and you'll be fine." "Why didn't you tell me you have medicine earlier?" "Bring it here." 100,000 spirit stones for 1 bottle. What a scoundrel! Yejing lay on the outer deck with his upper body, looking into the distance, which was an endless blue. Hearing Gray and Zhao Danggong bickering, he thought that it would be nice if this peaceful life could continue forever. Raising 3 wives and 6 concubines, and having a school of children, this is his ultimate dream. No, 3 wives and 6 concubines may not be enough. He felt that his personality might be far from Gray and Zhao Danggong. He was obviously a gentleman, but why did he become friends with 2 wretched villains? Yejing pondered what happened in the past 2 years, and he had some enlightenment in his heart. Gray was born in a big family, and he was an only child. He was destined to inherit the family business. No matter how famous he was outside, no matter how awesome he was, he had to go back to inherit his tens of billions of assets, that is, to take over the salted fish market of the entire Blue Star. Regardless of whether it is a salted fish or not, he will accept the family assets of hundreds of billions or even hundreds of billions, even if it is a dead fish. Gray accepted the setting from the beginning. Although he resisted and wanted to make a name for himself, no matter what he did, it was all a joke in his father's eyes. So, he was really playing from the Magic City to the Lonely City, from the Lonely City back to the Magic City, from the Magic City to Pluto for a funeral, and after playing 2 buckets of soy sauce, he returned to the Magic City. Because his home is in the Magic City, where he has hundreds of billions of assets. Thinking of this, Yejing couldn't help but glance at Gray next to him, envious to death. He can do things and die, but why? Isn't it to become stronger, isn't it for money? But Gray is so rich, why can he do things and die like this? The 2 of them met because of doing things. Yejing didn't know it before, but now he understands. Rebellion. Isn't it just like doing a career for the family to see, and then listening to the father with joy, the good son is great? Haha. Yejing said that this was because he had never tasted the beating of socialism. If it were him, he would never commit suicide, but would stay at home and wait for death as a stud. Unfortunately, he did not have this family background. He was not a rich second generation, so he could only let his son become a rich second generation. Yejing looked at Zhao Danggong, who took the potion from Gray, and couldn't help sighing. No matter how beautiful the scenery was, it couldn't compare to the impression Zhao Danggong gave him. I don't know if it was because of his profession or because he lacked love since childhood. This Zhao Danggong was more capable of making trouble than him. He had survived all the way between life and death. Ye Jing even doubted how this person could live to his 20s. With the mysterious treasure gold shovel in his hand, or with luck. When he was on the small planetary fragments above the lonely city, he knew Zhao Danggong. I really think the remains of Xiao Qinglian were dug out by Zhao Danggong, right? From the beginning, he fought with him for Omega Ziguang, and then he dismantled a bone dragon. I thought the two would never meet again, but who knew they would meet again in the Magic City not long after. At that time, Ye Jing never expected that just for the sake of a sun essence, Zhao Hanbang would provoke all the undead army and undead knights. Of course, there was also a small mistake made by Ye Jing at that time. From that time on, Ye Jing understood what kind of person this Zhao Xingbang belonged to, who would die if he didn't seek death. Mining on the Baidu Star pirate ship offended Xiao Qinglian, and digging for treasure in the outer territory city led to King Li. Ye Jing recalled the original incident and couldn't help but look at Zhao Xingban with strange eyes, thinking, how could this person survive until now? Why are you looking at me like this? Zhao Xingbang was trembling all over after being stared at by Ye Jing's strange gaze. Ye Jing shook his head, raised his hand and patted Zhao Xingban on the shoulder, and said solemnly, "Brother, please stay alive." Zhao horizontal bar. Ye Jing turned away from looking at the confused Zhao Hanban. He finally understood why the three of them, a time traveler, a rich second generation, and a tomb robber, had such a good relationship. It's all a humming friendship created through death. The three of them are not pretty boys kept by the goddess of luck, right? That's so cool. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bouletin G. Bayet. Chapter 514. Lady Luck's pretty face? Ye Jing thought about it and threw this idea out of his mind. If he were to be called a pretty boy, he was also a pretty boy from a melting pot. He was a pretty boy with black and white cats. He didn't care about the goddess of luck. Lady Luck is a mistress at best. When will the black and white cat wake up? Ye Jing murmured to himself distressedly. This might be because he had eaten enough. The black and white cat had been sleeping for so long and showed no sign of waking up. Ye Jing couldn't help but think wildly. This guy, the black and white cat, won't have all his energy blackened, right? He also hoped that the black and white cat would come up with a super abyss level passive skill. If all the energy is blackened, wouldn't the black and white cat evolve again? Will it evolve from cat form to cat girl form? Thinking about it this way, it feels right. What is a black and white cat? Zhao Xingba next to him asked. Hearing Zhao Xiangbang's question, Ye Jing came back from his delusion and felt a tremor in his heart. Oops, I accidentally said it. Although black and white cats are not taboo, it is difficult to explain to outsiders. It's nothing. One of the cats at home is hibernating. Ye Jing said without changing his expression. Do you have a cat? Zhao Xingbang looked at Ye Jing suspiciously and chuckled, just you? Why don't you starve to death like a cat? No, 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 this cat I have can starve me to death. Ye Jing thought to himself. He didn't speak. The three of them chatted and looked at the scenery. With their physical strength, they could stand still and look at the scenery for a month without any problem. Gray said casually, I don't know what the ruins of the isolated city have been built into. He still misses Gukhan a little and has only been there twice in his life. Once he encountered small planet fragments falling, and once he dug into the Dark World's stronghold, he felt that he would never forget that city in his life. Ye Jing said, it has probably been built. After all, the Dean and the others are over there. Isn't it simple to build a container to hold the hellfire? Zhao Xiangbang looked regretful and said, it's a pity that all the good things we got have been taken over by those old guys. I don't know if there will be abyss energy for me to eat when I advance to the 3 disaster realms. Gray said, when you advance to the 3 disaster realms, the energy of the abyss will probably be worthless. Yejing remained silent. The hellfire contained in the furnace space could continuously provide abyss energy, enough for him to consume indefinitely. If there weren't people from the dark world causing trouble, maybe we could have used the energy of the abyss. That's right, but that big mecha that's 100 meters long is really handsome. Gray looked at the mountains in the distance that were getting closer and closer, with a look of longing on his face. Sure enough, a man's romance is mecha. I really want to see it again. These words. Yejing suddenly raised his right eyelid, and an ominous premonition surged in his heart, and he hurriedly said, "Don't. Your flag is too standard, let's forget it." The words just fell. The huge air siren spread throughout the airship and resounded in the sky for miles around. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! Enable the airship's third-level defense mode and third-level attack mode. Everyone is ready to fight. In an instant, noisy sounds spread throughout the airship, and the sunlight in front of Yejing's sight seemed to be blocked by something, creating a shadow. When he saw the huge thing standing less than 100 meters away from the airship, he couldn't help but smile bitterly. No, the flag is recycled in seconds. Less than 100 meters directly in front of the three of them, stood a 50-meter mecha covered in pitch black and with a shell made entirely of obsidian. This jet black mecha takes on a human form, with a black flame burning in the center. An extremely familiar energy wave filled around them, making the spiritual energy in the air tremble. This is a mecha that uses abyss energy as its energy source. When Yejing and the others felt it, their expressions suddenly changed. How long had it been? This is just how long it has been since the Dark World obtained the abyss energy, and applied the abyss energy to this large-scale mecha. It seems that their black technology is stronger than the Council. Why do I have such a mean mouth? Gray looked at the behemoth in front of him and was about to cry, but in a blink of an eye his expression retracted, and he turned and left regardless of Yejing and Zhao horizontal bar. In the name of Gray, the airship urgently activates the first-level defense mode. His solemn voice spread throughout the airship. Others may not know the power of the abyss energy, but he knows it very well. Just relying on the defense mode of aura condensation, even level 1 may not be able to defend. Before anyone could react, the jet black mecha moved first. The person sitting in the dark mecha must be caught off guard. I saw the huge mecha raising its strong right arm, and its right fist retracted in a very sci-fi style, forming a huge cannon barrel 1 meter wide. The gun barrel is aimed at the airship that has not fully turned on the defense mode, and there is a faint dark energy condensing. This is the abyss energy full of destruction. The speed of energy condensation is unexpectedly fast, and it is completed in just 1 second. Then. Come. Quick. Very fast. The abyss energy cannon that pierced the sky crossed the air, carrying terrifying power and shooting directly at the airship. This is a civilian airship transporting cargo. Before the defense mode is turned on, it is as vulnerable as paper. If this is hit, it will fall 100%. Back off. Yejing made a prompt decision and pushed Zhao Danggong, who was trying to take out the golden shovel, away. He held his hand in the air, and a long sword filled with a fiery breath and then with dragon blood and hellfire appeared in his palm. Cut. Yejing turned over and jumped onto the board at the edge of the airship. He was not afraid of the 10,000-meter high altitude. He pointed the sword in one hand at the abyss energy cannon and slashed it in the air. The deep red sword energy chopped the abyss energy cannon. Boom! A loud explosion sounded in the air, and the majestic energy like the tide tilted the sky, spreading to the surroundings and blowing the airship to shake, as if it was about to fall. Seeing that the abyss energy cannon emitted by the black mecha was cut off by his sword, Yejing breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, this is not pure abyss energy, but only contains a trace of abyss energy. His sword energy also contains abyss energy. In the confrontation of abyss energy, it depends on whose concentration is thicker. Fortunately, his thickness. It was after this attack that Yejing made a judgment. This black mecha was just running on abyss energy. Perhaps its attack would be mixed with abyss energy, but the concentration would definitely not be too high. However, there was only one hellfire burning in the center of this mecha, and the abyss energy that could be generated was limited, so it might not be consumed wantonly. Let me do it. Zhao Danggong, who was standing by, supported Yejing, who was swayed by the energy fluctuations, and said with some dissatisfaction. He was once again used as a background board.